Good afternoon, everyone. We're here at Stanborough Church today, and we've got some really important people. I'm going to be posing some questions to everyone. So if I can firstly start off with ENOCH. ENOCH, you're the chair of One Vision, and we've seen the organisation that's reached out to with the vulnerable and hard to reach community. Where do you think that we're going to be going on from here from now?
Well, as COVID-19 started and we responded as One Vision, keeping our vision actually. We wanted to keep this one consistent. However, beyond the COVID-19, we already started to plan on three subjects. One is creating a young people voice, because what we realized actually during this COVID-19, whether the young people has been heard in during this COVID-19, that's number one priority. Number two is building stronger communities, community cohesion, to bring people together, to work, to understand different communities, especially in Watford. That's our second aim is. The third is we already started to put together a business plan in terms of what we're going to do as a One Vision, bringing people together. So we have got different ideas, we are coming together, and you will be hearing from us. I have spoken to our MP, the Mayor, and all the councillors, all the church leaders, and all the Interfaith Association's leaders as well. The one idea is, during this COVID-19, when we come out of beyond the COVID-19, there is need going to be there. The young people do not know what they're going to do. And also the people going to come out of the COVID-19 losing their jobs or not coming back from furlough or anything, how the One Vision can strongly support them. So we have got plans. So we're going to execute that plan soon.
Thank you. Coming to Dean. Dean, you've been in post since this year.
Yeah.
Firstly, how's it been? And secondly, we've just heard ENOCH talk about we're going to be coming out of COVID-19. What problems and support do you think our government and you could provide to sustain the work of groups like One Vision?
So, well, thank you so much for inviting me to join this discussion today. In terms of how's it been, I think it's just turned 6 months since I was elected, so it's been quite an intense 6 months. We've had an awful backdrop during the COVID crisis, as we all know. But I think as an individual and in terms of my role and having the opportunity to be the MP during this, actually I feel incredibly fulfilled and incredibly privileged. It's been such a challenging time, but to know that people have been able to come to me and I've been able to help them is such a fulfilling thing to be able to do despite the awful backdrop. And so for me, it's been really important that there's different aspects to being an MP that I've been trying to fulfil. One is obviously the role within Parliament and making sure that things are moving forward and to be able to vote to support people in trouble and to make sure the country is moving forward through this crisis. The second part has been through helping through casework. So I've done something like 3,500 individual pieces of casework, so that's getting people back from the other side of the world through to helping people with their businesses and so on. And then the third part has been where One Vision comes in, because I think I'm a great believer that leadership isn't about what you tell people, it's about what you show them. And I think leadership comes from being someone who helps people move in the right direction rather than telling them to go in a particular direction. And I think by being able to come each Saturday and work with the One Vision team to support you and showcase the brilliant work that you've been doing, it's really been fulfilling. And I think as we look forward, there's only so much a government can ever do. It doesn't matter how much money a government has, you're still not going to be able to legislate every particular case. And I look at what we've done as a government over the past 3-4 months, things like the bounce back schemes, the furlough schemes, the loans, all of these different things. They've all helped a huge number in society. But there's still some who haven't been able to be helped, sadly, despite the fact that there's been efforts to try and do so. And so as we move forward, those schemes are naturally not going to be able to be affordable long term. So we've got a balance to have, which is the paramount importance of saving lives. But now we're in a period where we've also got to save livelihoods. And so there's a balance between health and the economy And the reason why the economy is in that piece is that because that has a huge impact on people's livelihoods, it has a massive impact on their mental health, on their stability and on their support. And so the role of organisations like One Vision is almost to help, not fill the cracks, but also to help, make sure that things are glued together, that, as much as the government will try and do the right thing and continues to, and I feel proud of that, that we've tried to do our best throughout this awful time and the awful statistics we hear every day. There's always going to be a need from the ground up of supporting people. And as I mentioned in a talk earlier today, I think there's three things we need to feed. One is feed people's stomachs and make sure that they've got the money to be able to have the food on the table. And to do that, and One Vision's been helping with that, with the shopping and so much incredible work, and I won't take away from the conversations, no doubt you will share on that. The second part is about feeding people's minds and making sure that schools can go back, supporting education, but also enabling people to continue to do their livelihoods. But the third part is feeding their soul, and I think for me that's about the connection with community, connection to spirituality, connection to each other. And that, I think, is across all three of those, One Vision has done an incredible job to make sure that as an organisation they're doing that, but also it incredibly helps me in my role as an MP to not just take part, but also to hear and see for myself what's happening on the ground, so I can then feed that up into government to make sure Watford is being looked after during this difficult time.
Thank you very much, Steve. We've also got Mr. Rafat Kamal, who's President of the Trans-European Division of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So, firstly, welcome here today.
Thank you.
And it's supposed to be, it's the first time you've come to the church as well. But can I just ask for your opinion, after hearing everything that you've heard from different people and speaking to individuals as well, do you think there is a need for an organisation like One Vision here?
Oh yes, a very strong yes. I think immediately when you come to witness and talk to the people and listen to the stories, immediately we had a run with an induction orientation. You will notice very strong positive energy. When you have the MP here, it has reached a national government level. He can stand in Parliament and speak about the One Vision. You have all the grassroots players, the professionals, the business. This is what I call a movement that is on fire to serve the needs of the community. And that is exciting. That's something that I think it just doesn't happen overnight. But somehow there's an explosion with the corona, bringing in 38 different units just to work together, left and right, coordinating with distribution of food, talk about mental health, talk about the issues of the homeless, talk about the elderly, meeting the needs of the elderly. So there's more about the One Vision than just the corona. But the way they adapted so quickly to meet the needs, the actual needs of people in the community, that is amazing. It is contagious. It meets all the right principles of doing good in the community, where you have different religious groups, different business groups, local government and national government coming together to make this happen. It's very exciting. I'm actually disappointed I haven't visited here this project before. I should have been. I heard about it for a couple of years. But seeing the extent of this growth to become a kind of a movement, that's quite exciting. It's inspirational. I invite everyone who can make it here just to get a bit of this, be part of it. It inspires you, puts you on fire.
Thank you very much, Robert.
Thank you.
I suppose underlining that is the notion of communities that had we have stronger communities. And I think Watford's very lucky, very fortunate to have that. Also quite a privilege to have Sharon Platt-Mcdonald. You've got quite a few roles that you play. So Director of Health, Director of Women, and Director for the Adventist Community Service Ministry of British Union Conference. Working in partnership with One Vision, could you explain the convalescent project with regards to the three-phase project that you're involved in, and how has One Vision actually assisted you in that?
I think it first started with my health hat on. I noticed that when a number of people came out of hospital recovering from COVID-19, they still weren't recovered because they had breathing difficulties and coughing, and they had very clearly post-fatigue, viral fatigue. And so the idea of doing a convalescence program for them to enable them to recover emotionally, physiologically and spiritually even came to mind. And so I decided to create a project in 3 segments: revival, to revive them as they've come out of hospital, renew them emotionally, physically, spiritually, and then restoration, to look at how we can help them to convalesce away from home. So the idea was new, But I think when you're starting a new initiative, it's important to look what is already there that can help you on the groundwork. And I couldn't have thought of any other organisation but One Vision to help with the operational aspects. So in stage one, we were looking at delivery of food to help people recover and revive. And so One Vision, I got hold of ENOCH. We've been working together with One Vision for 2 years now, I think. And they already had a feeding programme. And so we decided that for the individuals that I'd identified from the community, from our church setting and further afield, who were really unwell and recovering from COVID, we would work with One Vision to deliver food, hot food for those clients, for those individuals. And we now have about 250 meals that they're doing on a daily basis. We have people from the Muslim community and also from the Hindu community and the churches in other faith groups who've heard about the foods and says, oh, this person came out of hospital, they're really poorly at home, can we have food for them? So we've been doing that. And then in phase 2, we now have the wellness bags that we have, where we look at spiritual literature, emotional literature, physiological tips and things to help people while they're at home to read, to feed their mind. That's why I was so thrilled to hear about the feeding of the soul and so forth, and aspects of the mind, because when you're feeling down, it's good to have that nurture for your mental well-being. So lots of mental well-being books and activities for the families to do together to help their relational well-being while they're at home. And then in the last phase, we've given funding to One Vision so that they can identify individuals in the community who may need to have convalescence away from home. So I'm working with the Wellness Centre. We've written a programme together called the COVID-19 Recovery Programme, and various individuals will be able to apply for that and will be able to support their funding to this wellness centre. The first one who's come on board is the Manor House, which is a sort of wellness establishment in the north of England, but we're also working with various entities, Shatneys and various spas. I rang them up so that local people can go there, and we will fund their convalescing away from home. So we're excited that One Vision has helped us with that initial food, and once people get that strength, they can think of other ideas, and so we're here to help to tie in with the wonderful work that's been doing. And together, it was Helen Keller who said, alone we can do little, but together we can do so much. And this is what One Vision is doing. Collaborative approach to move mountains, basically, and do much for our community and for our God.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Sharon. Rabi, just to ask, how important is the work that's been done by One Vision since COVID-19 started?
Thank you, Harjit. You're right. I was appointed mental health champion for Watford Council 2.5 years ago, and my initial objective was to just get the council adopting policies which would recognise that it's okay not to be okay within the council. That was my initial thought. I then wanted to take that out to the business community and the wider community. And I spent 1.5 years trying to do that with very little success, I have to admit. And I had joined One Vision in that time anyway. But when COVID-19 came up and One Vision's work in the community really took off, I found a new avenue to get my message on mental health to the wider community. Because all I want to do, and I say all, not because it's a small issue, but because that's the most important issue, is all I want to do is get everybody here, everybody in the town, recognizing that mental health well-being is just as important as our physical well-being. You've heard the physical well-being is being looked after, and that's good. But now that I've got the One Vision family, I've got a vehicle to take the message and the training out to the community so that everybody, whether they are school children, elderly people, isolated people, all begin to hear the message of mental health well-being and where they can get it more directly. And one final thing, in terms of a practical project I've got developing a mental health well-being online platform. And the whole purpose of that platform is that it's going to be a gateway for the community to get to the professional and help that's out there. The help is out there, people are not going to it. I think One Vision will help me tell people, hey, there is about that, please use it.
Can you also mention about the webinar as well that's taking place?
Oh, webinars. Yes, that's something I've started again doing every Thursday afternoon from 4 to 5. You can get to it via the Watford Wellness page. And each week, what I do is I get a mental health professional or indeed someone from the industry to talk about how they're handling mental health well-being in their community. So I would encourage people to join in.
Brilliant. So I just want to say, I just want to thank all the guests that came today. They've given you an insight. They're individuals, but they're bringing communities together. And I think it's important that we understand that communities are important and how we can be part of this structure and this organisation. So thank you very much. Bye.